why we make bad decisions sometimes.
Well, I'll try, but and especially I want to help you guys have a good title for this video. But the reason I got interested in decision making, so decision psychology is in some sense one big criticism of rational choice theory. Rational choice theory comes out of economics, and it's this idea that people are self-interested, rational decision makers.
Every one of us, right?
All of us. And if you make, whether that's true or not, if you use that as a heuristic, as a rule of thumb, if you make that assumption, it's the best way to predict how people will decide. And I think still today, most economists will say, yes, that's true. That's the best way to predict. From an economic perspective, that's the best way to predict how people make choices. If you studied a little bit of history, American history, looking at the atomic bomb, you would have studied about the Bay of Pigs, about how close we were to launching preemptive nuclear strike against Russia, because we thought if we're rational utility maximizers, if we're these people who are thinking about our own self-interest and we're assuming the other side is rational, the only rational choice is to be the first to act. So we were ready, and there were the best minds, mathematicians, economists, but really mathematicians who developed this decision rational choice model were saying, this is what you ought to do.
2003, right? The invasion of Iraq, it's the same thing.
Yeah, but this is back before Russia had finished developing the atomic bomb, but after we had it.
Yeah.
Or not, like it was saying, they're about to develop it. We have to attack first. So, but yeah, same as 2003, same kind of idea. But this was like, we're going to wipe out a country.
Do you think maybe the leaders know this and they use it because they want to do what they want to do anyway, and then
maybe? I mean, in this case, the leaders were the ones who think God said no. Who said, look, these are the scientists, the decision scientists saying this is the way to go. This is the best prediction. This is the state-of-the-art science. We should attack. Not all of the scientists were saying this, but these mathematicians. So this is the birth of rational choice theory, sort of. So these great mathematicians who are now influencing economics, so started this field of rational choice theory in economics to say, let's assume people are this. So psychologists started to study decision making because they said, wait a second, this isn't how people choose. And let's look psychologically at how people really choose. And one of the fathers of the psychology of decision making, a guy named Herbert Simon, won the Nobel Prize basically by saying, that we aren't, first of all, we're just not smart enough in a sense. We're boundedly rational. He had this idea of bounded rationality, which was basically saying we have limited time, limited information. So in that world where we have limited time and limited information, we use what are called heuristics. And he had this one particular heuristic called satisficing, which was basically saying, like, if you're buying a car, you don't look at all the different variables and look at what utility each variable has or what value each variable has and try to maximize them all in some mathematical thing. You just see, does this meet my basic requirements? If it does, I'm going to buy it. It's called satisficing, basically. And this, he for a lot of other reasons won the Nobel Prize, but a big part of it was this idea of bounded rationality. But still, economists thought, this is still the best model. We're going to assume people do this. If you're trying to predict mass behavior. So recently, other psychologists working on the same thing, talking about biases and what influences how we make decisions, started to look at, to challenge this rational choice model, to say, okay, if this model is true, here's how we would behave. Set up all these creative experiments to show how people systematically deviate from this rational model.